Okay, guys, here we go. It's semifinals time, as we have Fantyx versus Hippie and Duro SVK versus Tiberius Rancor on the lower end of the semifinal. Fantyx and Hippie here, uh, with pretty solid runs both. Fantyx coming all the way from the first round, taking down Medi, taking down Phoenix, which was the highest seed of them all. And at the meantime, Hippie taking down Tofug, taking down X Nihilio. So two pretty strong opponents there as well, but both had a somewhat close run in the round of 8. Also guys, I'm joined now by a lovely voice that you might be familiar with. Leifens, who also didn't quite have the best tournament this time around, is joining me here for the semifinals and finals. So
It was the long game, guys. I just wanted to be a caster instead of a player.
yeah, already setting up for the next career.
Yeah, I'm washed up now, so I need to put Plan B into
Oh,
action.
this is a tragedy. This is a tragedy of
And
the
yeah,
maximum
we're gonna go in
scale.
here. The semifinals will be played on the map Black Forest, Death Row, and Chemicals. Gonna start with some Black Forest game, so I'm pretty sure Hippie should be quite happy about that. He's a bit sad that it is not the old Black Forest, because he is a masochist and a sadist at the same time. He likes to hurt himself whilst he hurts others as well. So, yeah. But the new Black Forest, a lot better map, should be quite interesting. I know Fantyx doesn't like it, but the other option would have been Geisa, which he likes even less, so I'm pretty sure he is happy that we at least changed it to Black Forest here. And I'm happy with it so that we see that map one more time, because I think it's a fantastic map. And yeah. What do you think is the best pick for it, Leifens?
I think an infantry-heavy division is the best pick for Black Forest at the moment, because both the wooded zone and the open zone is both 1 point each, meaning that if you can push out of the wooded zone and just stay in the town of the central town zone, you can easily win the map.
Short and Alpha. But yeah, let's go in here, guys. Hippie and Fantyx brawling it out on the semifinals of the WARNO League Super Tournament. And we have Fantyx in the top left, bringing in 39th guards, whilst we have Hippie in the bottom right here, bringing in the 7th Panzer onto the lovely map of Black Forest. The bans of the game have been 3rd US, Operation Centrum, and 35th Air Assault. And that should give us a pretty lovely game here on this map. All you on Twitch can still gamble your channel points away for a couple more minutes. And before we go into the match properly, let's go and have one more shout out to Match Arena, where you guys can help out funding this tournament. And you don't even have to pay anything yourself. You just go to Match Arena and you use the claim code button up here, which still can be used 6 more times. And add 25 cents to the prize pool completely for free. Also, big shout out to everyone who contributed some money directly or used the code. Especially Lost Guardsman here, coming in with a hefty 250 bucks, getting us up to $364 already. And if we preach these new 2 more goals here, one means that the 3rd and 4th place also will get a bit of a share. And then the $500 one means that I will have to endure 6 hours of Berlin Command only. At least 6 hours of a ranked stream with Berlin Command only. So if you want to see me suffer, get this up to 500 bucks, guys. And let's freaking go. Hippie versus Fantyx. And yeah, how do you feel about the chances for these 2 divisions here, Leifens? And how do you like the setup of these 2 right now?
I am actually a bit surprised that we're seeing motor Aufklars instead of special Aufklars on the opener, with how strong the special Aufklars are at the moment. The motor Aufklar is obviously cheaper, that is a valid point. But losing that special forces trait is quite a big loss in opening strength.
Yeah, it's not just the special forces trait, it's also these only have the normal recon deployment zone, whilst the Spezialaufklärer have the airborne deployment zone. So they
That's been changed in this patch, because they used to be recon as well.
Yeah. So they can even deploy a bit further forward and get you even further. More of an advantage than in the zoning out, as 39th doesn't have access to any airborne forces. So they come in with Ratchetka Saperi here, which are better at fighting infantry than the Mod Aufklärer, so that could be an interesting fight. Do we have any attack helicopters here to start? No, it seems Me Too on either side. No, we have a Me-24K.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be quite vital here for Fantyx. Meanwhile, in the rear, we have one TADBV from the get-go here as well. The heaviest tank that we will see in this matchup. Already deployed here. And the question is, can he keep that alive against Hippie, who likes to play with airplanes and has quite a couple of those in his deck. As we go into the game, let's see how it all pans out, guys. I hope you are just as hyped as I am. Let's freaking go here. Semifinals of the WARNO League Super Tournament, number 1.
I also think Hippie is something clever when he's opening with 2 CVs instead of just one, as Fantyx is doing, because that forces Fantyx to be on the offensive later in the game.
Yeah, it for sure forces the hand there. As we go in here now. And yeah, 7th Panzer, for sure an interesting pick. Let's see how it pans out. Panzerjägers, Hippie already planning for his standard move of getting something into the enemy rear line, and there's nothing better to kill enemy tanks than a Panzerjäger. Their 2 weapons hit really, really hard. And with the forest area here, they can get close enough for sure, if they don't get found by the Me-24K or similar units. Me-24K here flying in. The CV of Fantyx gets the rear zone. No! Oh! Big mistake by Fantyx. Really, really big mistake. His CV moves out of Echo too quickly. And that means he doesn't capture the +2 zone, leaving Hippie with a +2 already. And that is pretty bloody on this map. Pretty big mistake here on this map, as every point you capture is... Every point you get is really hard for the enemy to get away from you, because there's just so few zones on this map, or so few points on the zones rather.
Even more importantly, it doesn't seem like he's realizing his mistake, which even extends Hippie's advantage even further, as he's likely to have to buy another CV, which he just did. And he's sending it to the other side of the map. He has not realized.
Yeah, and Hippie now on a +3, as Hippie captures Alpha as well. So yeah, Fantyx will have to be the aggressor in this game at some point to get that point advantage away from Hippie again. Me-24K finding some Panzerjägers, but not quite able to get the kill there. A couple of Saperi RPO coming in. I would say the forest fight for now should go in favor of Fantyx.
Yeah, I agree. If he uses his helicopter, he should just wipe this.
Yeah, and his Ratchetka Saperi is also getting in range for the TNT, getting the first Mod Aufklärer killed. And the Me-24K absolutely can be devastating there. There is a Shilka coming up, but that will take a long while. Fantyx, has he finally realized his issue? Yes, he has realized what has happened there. Moving the CV now back to Echo, but that will take a while. In the meantime, Hippie will stay at the +3. And the Me-24K will move around to the north. The MP3 coming around from the get-go here as well. And the Saperi RPO might be at the perfect place to hit the Panzerjäger. Oh, Panzerjäger might not even get into that forest. Me-24K finds them. Good find there. So, kill-wise, solid start here for Fantyx. Point-wise, obviously pretty good for the player in blue. So, should be interesting here. BMP3 gets hit by a Conquerors. And
I also think Hippie is likely to lose his CV on the top, since he's currently micro down in the middle zone, and his CV is routed straight into the jaws of the helicopter.
Yeah, that doesn't look great. The MP3 in the south, moving around. We have the first Su-22 M8 vehicle coming around.
Oh, that's big.
Ooh.
That's big.
Getting the OSA killed. That means a long time here for Fantyx, where he needs to duck and hide till he has more OSAs on the front line. OSAs at least are fast, but they still take a good while here to arrive at the front line again. And for all that time, this TADBV that also doesn't have smoke anymore needs to hide from any more Su-22 ATGM planes coming around here. As he at least captured this Echo now. He captured Foxtrot as well. Hippie still has
to lose his helicopter on the north.
But yeah, might lose the helicopter to the BMP3. Osa coming around to finish the job. Will get another missile out. Will get the kill. Good kill there. So Fantyx for sure with the advantage in kills now is closing in on the SPW, but Hippie maybe a bit better positions in general now. As the center in Charlie looking pretty strong. Tries to get an Aufklärer in the south. Motorstrike Medis not quite able to fire down that road. So that will get into the town. Will get into that building. The farm should be a good spot for these Aufklärers to find more units in the south. Whilst we have more Mi-8 MTA coming around for Fantyx. Yeah, you don't want to be ambushed by Hippie's rear line action. Hippie so good at moving his units into your rear. So having exceptional optics helicopters on your flanks to spot against that is a wise choice if you can afford them. And I think at the moment Fantyx absolutely can. Pushing in harder in the north as well. And yeah, at Bravo, I don't think there's many units left here.
AT plane is back at it. Let's see if it gets the T-80 BV. It shouldn't have smoke since it hasn't been resupplied since it used it last time.
Can it break line of sight somehow, some way? It doesn't move at all. Oh! Left at 1 hit point though. Osa, can it retaliate? Osa gets the hit together with the Su-27. Really important kill here in the air. T-80BV surviving thanks to its solid 17 frontal armor. And that's a big victory here once more for Fantyx. So far, game going decently for Fantyx outside of him being slightly down in points. But he has the +1. So he will start to take up against Hippie in that regard as well. And Bravo looking absolutely fantastic for our red player here. For our low self-esteem Hungarian, who is really doing a good job here.
The master of the copium.
Conquerors trying to get the T-72s. T-72s seemingly on the hunt for that low hit point T-80BV. As they have the firepower. They don't quite have the armor to take it up with the T-80BV in the long run. But if they can find it with its pants down, that would be great. But I feel like they're a bit too late. As the repairs already ongoing.
Firing his artillery at the moment. Let's see if he can get some snipes.
Yeah, Akatsia for sure. Quite the powerful beast. BMP-3 gets hit by the T-72. Quick reaction there from Fantyx though. Gets the smoke out immediately. Doesn't get hit a second time. So the BMP-3 should be staying alive. But ooh, the next OSA falling. The next OSA falling. It at least got the kill onto that SU. But that means another Su-22 could come around relatively soon. Mi-24V AT. Good helicopter here though. Can be really helpful with its Kokon missiles against these T-72Ms. Whilst the T-80BV is back in action, it still is not at full cohesion. Slowly recovering there, but it is back fully repaired. Conquerors versus T-72. That is not a healthy situation for the T-72. Disengaging right now as our Hungarian player here slowly catching up. Nearly at 100 points now. With the +1 thanks to Bravo Zone being fully under his control. Else we have more T-80Bs and a T-62M. So going... He has 4 tanks on the battlefield, Fantyx, and he has 4 different tanks. He has a T-80BV, T-80B, T-62M1 and a T-62M. Really not going with, with a cohesive force here. I always find that a bit annoying when I don't quite have the same tanks next to each other, but he doesn't seem to have a problem with it. Shilka going down to the Conquerors. And Hippie has to be careful now with the trades. The trades lately really not going his way. And what do you feel like is Hippie's way of getting this game back under his control?
He needs to deal with helicopters. That's what's wrecking him currently. He's getting denied his movement by the helicopters, and then he stands in awkward positions. So I think he needs to invest a bit more in anti-air.
Yeah, which he is doing right now in the north. Mi-24K will go down, but at the same time, Su-27 sallied another time, got the MiG-21 shot out of the air. So the Air Force is not building up for Hippie into the critical number part, which is a way of victory for 7th Panzer as well. If you can get enough airplanes that you can just overwhelm the enemy with numbers, that can be quite dangerous. But both his Su-22 and his MiG-21 already shut down. Su-27 absolutely supreme air superiority fighter, especially since it got its buff in agility. And that means that Hippie is denied that part of his play.
He's also lacking a bit of vision for his T-72 force, with his recon being further up in the zone. So I would like him redirecting that towards his T-72s and going on the offensive shortly. As 7's strong point is between like the 10 to 20 minute mark.
Yeah. Su-22 AT in the north found one hit, but is now hunted out of the battlefield by the OSA and the Su-27. This one at least will survive, but heavily damaged, so it will be out for repairs for quite a while. And BMP-3s coming in here, quite a couple of them, quite a couple of tanks here for Fantyx as well, and that means that Fantyx's tank force should be stronger than the one of his opponent by now. But the T-80BV is once more heavily damaged. Got one hit on a T-72 as well, but it will need to get the hell out of there, and it already used its smoke. So I'm not sure there is a good way. I guess just going rearwards until you reach the forest behind you is the best way of getting out of there. T-72s pop their smoke as well to dodge a Conqueror's missile. And now firing onto the Motostrelki Medis in the south. The Akatsuya tries to find one target at a time. Ooh, T-80BV really has to get the hell out of there now. Otherwise it might get hit by the Akatsuyas. Oh, it's bailed out! Okay, I only saw the crit, but it also is bailed out. Okay, that's painful. Because that means the artillery now will most likely finish it off, as it can't get away. Ah, that is really, really unlucky there for Fantyx. Who seemingly popped that smoke just a slight bit too late and got hit one more time, which led to that
Actually survived.
Yeah, but it has no smoke now, so any T-72 ever getting close to it should be able to finish it off.
Oof. The ATGM spam from Fantyx is doing a good job of denying and thinning down the T-72 line.
Yeah, the Conquerors and BMP-3s in pretty good positions. Meanwhile though, Hippie got back into Bravo. Fantyx not well enough set up with his infantry there to deny Hippie the way back in, so currently no one is scoring any points, and Hippie still has the point advantage. So for now, is still in the lead in that regard. And I guess we will have a long game here. Katsuya coming in for the T-62. Getting some good hits there. Conquerors evading those artillery shots as well. No artillery whatsoever for Fantyx just yet. And only one of his helicopters currently on the battlefield. So really also relying on his BMP-3s and his tanks currently to do most of the work. T-72s under heavy fire. Oh, that T-72 might be done for. Stunned, down to 2 hit points. Another ATGM coming for it. 2 more flying in right behind that. That should be the end of it. Yeah, there we go. 1 T-72 bites the dust. Su-27 in the north. What was that Su-27 trying to achieve? Oh, that was
trying to attack the helicopter of Hippies, but he landed in time.
Oh, yeah, that was a painful loss. You shouldn't use Su-27s for that. I think that's always a waste. Even if you get the helicopter, if you get that close to the enemy, your Su-27 usually pays for it with its life, and the Su-27 is more worthwhile than any helicopter in the game. So, especially against the deck of Hippie that can spam so many airplanes your way. So that was a big blunder in my eyes. Especially the helicopter did survive. And the OSA also didn't get any shots on it. Fantyx a bit too overeager there maybe to get the Bravo point back quickly.
The sawmill part of the map is really hard to fight in because of all the line of sight issues that are caused by the buildings, and the terrain of the sawmill is really bumpy. So it's a fight which really emphasizes a lot of micro to do well.
Yes, he gets the helicopter in the end after all. OSA was in a nice spot. Helicopter went up into the sky, got immediately shot out of this. So at least one more helicopter that killed off of Hippie, and he doesn't have that many. So the helicopter menace of Hippie should be over. But, even though Fantyx did so much work here on trying to keep his rear line safe, Aufklärer on the way with its RPG-18 to kill the BTR. Hippie always finding a way. Hippie always finding a way and gets the BTR killed. Most likely gets the Gus captured there. And that is quite painful here for Fantyx. Oh, but he killed the CV of Hippie just a second earlier. So in the end, actually, he still holds Bravo. Loses his CV, but he captured Bravo just a second earlier because he killed Hippie's CV just that slight bit in advance. Needs to find that Aufklärer though. That Aufklärer captures the gas once more. Sends it back. It will be captured by Fantyx. And that will be a gas ping pong, I guess. Let's see when Fantyx realizes what happened there and moves the helicopter in there. SU-25
Right.
on the battlefield. Okay, that's it out. That is out for the hunt. But I don't think it should go for those T-72s, as there's a lot of AA behind that. But Fantyx now getting the score. And the Aufklärers capture the gas again. There we go. Gas gets destroyed by Fantyx. And Fantyx needs to unload his units there. Shouldn't go any further than this. Yeah, unloads his Motorstrakis now. They should be able to deal with the Aufklärer. SU-25 though goes too deep. And is down to 2 hit points. Goes down to the Shilkas. Yeah, that was a bad mistake there. That was a bad mistake.
I would like to see a more systematic approach to resupply. Seems like they're losing a lot of units that they initially saved because they keep them at low HP.
And yeah, TADVVs coming in here. That is looking quite solid over here. And hey, thanks for the follow, everyone.
That's a bold T-72 push by Hippie up in the north. Oh, he got Osa.
Oh yeah, those T-72s are really, really ballsy up here. BMP-1P shot its shot already. No AT infantry whatsoever. Mi-8 MTA though will keep an eye on it. And the advantage of Hippie by now is melted down to only 200 points. As Motorstraki Medis can be quite dangerous. BMP-1P might get the first shot. No, it re-aims. It re-aims. Oh, it would have gotten the shot off. But it changes target and that costs it the kill. SU-25 AT though on the way, and that should be able to deal with these two as long as the Mi-MTA survives long enough, which it should. Still 5 hit points remaining. Don't think the T-62 with its MGs can kill that fast enough. So SU-25 here coming in. Should absolutely be capable of doing the job. Struggles a bit with the terrain though. But doesn't do the job. Yeah, the hilly terrain not allowing for a good line of sight with the missiles. And the SU-25 not finishing the job. Otleni Podorichki coming in now.
I don't know if you catched it, but up in the north, Fantyx managed to get another CV snipe. So Hippie has lost 3 CVs so far. And in the current meta, you're running quite few CVs. So Hippie might actually run drive soon.
Yeah, he brings in a tank CV card, so that should be 2 CVs, I think, on the T-72 card. SU-25 AT GM airplanes coming in as well here once more. It's 2 of them this time around. SU-27 we saw earlier shut down. That would have been great now to try to get the counter kill here. They don't hit too much, but they will be a menace. Osa has to be careful. Doesn't want to be out in the open. Doesn't want to be spotted. ADBV gets hit hard. Osa trying to retaliate. Really struggling to get the hits on here. As the SU-22s have decent ECM with 30. And the Osa struggles to get the shot. More AA here would be quite good for the Fantyx. I would like a couple of coops being behind the town to give a bit more long-range AA. And some really heavy hitters as well. But, in general, I would say Charlie on the ground not going bad for Fantyx. As Hippie did lose all his T-72s here. The ATGM...
Fantyx is doing a really good job of keeping his tanks alive, pulling them back and repairing them, so we get so much value out of the tanks.
Yeah, SU-22 with cluster coming in this time around, with only 1 Osa, which is now also out of ammo. No chance of getting that killed, so TADP goes down. Yeah, Fantyx really needs to up his game in the AA, but everything else is going well. Mi-24 VP kills the 2 T-72s in Bravo. And Hippie is losing his advantage more and more in points as well. Less than 100 points differentiating these 2 players at the moment. As Fantyx is getting 40 points per minute, so soon will have the advantage.
And Fantyx seems to me to feel like he's in a good state, because he's spending points up in Echo to defend it as well, which you usually wouldn't do if you feel pressured.
Yeah, Mi-24 VP getting the BMP-1P killed here in the north. This is looking really good. Oh, Otleni Podorichki coming in. That should have a good time if it can get out of transport against the BMP-1P.
Ooh.
Su-25, Su-22 coming in nicely. Killing off the Mi-24 VP. That's a really expensive loss. And yeah, the AA part really is the one where Fantyx needs to up it. Gets another pre-user. I would really like to see some coups. Especially with pre-users, they work really well, because then the pre-user only needs to deal 1 damage to an Su-22. And then the 1 missile landing on the coup is deadly. So I'm not quite sure why he is not doing anything in that regard. As Hippie now turns the northern zone around. We'll get a +1 here. Otleni Podovitsky just arriving that slight bit too late. Otherwise they could have gotten maybe another CV kill there. Bit unfortunate for Fantyx. Now
Fantyx has an Mi-24K in Hippie's backline, sniping stuff coming down this reinforcement road. On the right side.
Yeah, Osa getting an Su-22 cluster pushed back, but it got a TADBV killed. And the Mi-24K might get shot down by the Su-22. No, Su-22 on the way out, not quite doing the job.
Does not look like Hippie is realizing what's going on.
Yeah, and the Mi-24K has 23mm guns, which potentially, with the side shots, can deal damage to a T-72 side armor, which only is at 6 armor if they get close enough. Yeah, they do some damage here with those guns, but now the T-72s fire back, and when they show frontal armor, this Mi-24K can't do anything about it, so Fantyx needs to get it back. We saw that yesterday. Yesterday it was Fantyx versus Booth, where Mi-24K took out a heavy artillery battery. At the meantime, at Charlie though, Motostrelky's getting really close to sniping Hippie's CV there. So Hippie might be down another CV, and then I think he has only his tank CVs remaining in his deck. Su-22 AT not hitting the BMP-3, getting another hit on the way out though. Osa really struggling to hit them. Yeah, the 30 ECM on the Su-22 is really doing a good job. Motostrelky's desperately trying to find the SPW. And the Mi-24P for Hippie moving around here now. SPW still in the forest. Hippie's still hiding it there, behind the smoke. And the Mi-24K in the rear went down. Hippie bet on the +1. Su-25 coming in for our Hungarian player here. Getting onto the hunt for the Mi-24P, which goes down, but still should be spotted by something. Or is it? Yes, it is. Su-27 gets some good run in. Gets a missile connection as well. Su-25 AT gets the A-gun there killed. The Su-27 still around. MiG-23L, 2 of them against the Su-27. That might be good enough. In a 1v1, the Su-27 for sure has the advantage. In a 1 versus 2, it might look different, but it still gets out. It's 40 ECM, or 30 ECM helping out there. Su-25 should go down, but keeping the Su-27, the last remaining there alive, is important, especially as Fantyx now is capable of clearing out Charlie completely and killing off one of the few remaining CVs of Hippie there. So Hippie needs to be really careful with his 272Ms now. If Fantyx realizes that, he might just go for the hunt there, and then the game is basically over. If Fantyx is going for hunting down the 2 last remaining CVs, then Hippie can't really come back. BMP-3 gets the Akatsuya, which went way too close to the front line there. It went there to help out smoking, but now the BMP-3 gets the kill, and yeah. Do you see this? Do you see Hippie still having a chance here, or is this the beginning of the end?
I am currently putting the odds of Hippie being able to pull this back less than 10%.
Okay, this is...
Is over his strong point. He's used most of his quote-unquote best T-72s. The only way I can see Hippie winning this is if Fantyx overextends and get run down by Hippie's air.
BMP-3 trying to come around here against the T-72. T-72 hitting the Motostrelky Maddies. TADBVK coming around in the north. And... yeah, the northern fight, interesting. T-72 of Hippie, really risky. Goes down! Oh my god. Otleni Podovitsky getting another CV sniped here, and I'm not sure he has any left. He might have one left in his deck in the rear, but yeah, risking the T-72 there, it shows Hippie's balls, but it also shows his major weakness. Like, sometimes he's just a bit too daring, a bit too far forward, and that might cost him the game here.
I think he should have pulled back a bit earlier in the early game when he was pressuring Charlie, since he kept bleeding tanks and not actually gaining anything.
Yeah, the losses of T-72 was massive there. Allowing the T-80BVs and T-80Bs of Fantyx a lot of value there without having to fear anything. Not having any ATGMs on the side of Hippie is also, in my eyes, a big mistake. Like, not having any Conquerors in those buildings to threaten the enemy. And now the T-80BV gets one of the T-72 kills. Can he get another one? No. At least the T-80BV now goes down, but it's a +2 now for Fantyx. Hippie still
also would like to give Fantyx a lot of props for the way he's moving his forces. He's really good at like pulling with his Conquerors, the infantry, the AA. Everything is moving up together instead of it being like, oh, I need my AA up now. The air is coming.
Yeah, SU-22 once more out here, getting a good damage against the SU-27 versus the SU-22, forcing that one back home. And now even strafing a bit here in the south. Not achieving much there. Not quite getting the Me-2 helicopter. But the one CV of Hippie still remaining now has to do all the work. And keeping that thing alive with how the forests here work, it's gonna be an absolute pain.
If I were in Hippie's shoes, I would have surrendered now and move on to the next one and like try to not tilt myself.
Yeah,
to get the maximum out of the series.
Possibly, but I don't know if Hippie is one to surrender early. I actually don't quite know how his behavior is in that regard. T-55 AM2B versus BMP3 in the south. Ooh, gets a good hit. Also, I know that Fantyx gets fatigued relatively quickly, so pulling the game as long as possible still might be a valuable thing here for Hippie. Might have...
That is indeed a good point.
More stamina.
Also, Fantyx is a bit vulnerable to like the shock and awe strats, where he suddenly loses a lot of stuff at one time.
Yeah. BMP one piece. But yeah, the chances of Hippie here now relatively low. Maybe just trying to avoid losses and building one big air strike up, and then trying to tilt Fantyx with that is the way to go. Like, I know Fantyx feels really has really big feelings about the airplay in WARNO, and if you can tilt him there and he feels like it's unfair or something, then he can start to tilt out of control, which would then be maybe a way back, but it's a really slim chance at this point, as Fantyx is currently using his ground forces insanely well. And if he gets the T-72, the chances are 0, and T-72 really close to the T-80B. Like, those are sitting right next to each other. Just
I don't think they have vision of each other.
No, they don't. They have now. T-72 gets the first shot, gets the kill.
No.
T-72 does survive.
Hippie is bringing out all the air now. He also did a napalm strike in the southern part.
Yeah. Mortal Stalker BMP there. Su-22s got out alive. And yeah, now having 2 Su-27s would be really valuable. But Fantyx now is ahead in points. And Hippie has not enough forces currently for any offensives. So he needs to play it slow, but only 11 minutes remaining, so playing slow not really an option actually. MiG-21 Bis coming in. Also on Piusa, getting some good damage in on it though, getting the kill. Yeah, that's not worth it at all. Getting one infantry unit there for MiG-21. Not the payoff you want as Hippie there. As the AA.
If I were to be Hippie at this moment in the game where I'm losing on most fronts, I would try to create a new front, and I would try to do a charge down Echo.
Yeah, a charge on Echo could be a good idea. Su-22M gets a kill there. Next one coming in with another ATGM. Not quite sure what it tries to go for. SU-27 out though.
Oh.
SU-27 getting some good missile hits and does the job in the end. MiG-23, can it retaliate this time? Yes, last SU-27 goes down. That might allow Hippie some games, and yeah, you are right. We have a Mi-22 going exactly for Echo. Question is, how do you capture Echo though? He only has the D-72. If he moves that out of Bravo, he loses Bravo, giving his opponent the +2. Like, if he would have another CV left, a push onto Echo might be a viable option, but first he needs to take Bravo, or at least take out the CV there, before he can move on his T-72 to Echo.
I honestly think this is a lost game for him. I don't see an approach. The only theoretical way it's possible is if you have a fast-moving jeep or helicopter CV, because it takes about 5 minutes just to travel there, and then you need to sit in the tick as well.
And Fantyx is going for the killing blow now, I think.
Yeah.
As that Otleni Podoritsky gets the kill. That's the CV gone. And that might be it. Yeah, Hippie has no CV on the battlefield. And I don't think he has a CV in the deck. He might still play it out because he's Hippie. But there's just... like, this game is over. Maybe...
as much as we were talking about Fantyx stamina earlier, Hippie is also kind of HDHD, where he loses concentration over time. So I don't think he's doing himself a service by going long.
Well, maybe... yeah, maybe drinking a tea and staying in the game, you know? Getting yourself rested again, and letting Fantyx still build up scary scenarios in his low self-esteem head.
Write him some DMs.
Yeah. Checking his Foxtrot point and his Echo point down to the detail, wondering what Hippie's plan is, while Hippie goes for tea time. Could be an option, but yeah. Hippie is playing on. He doesn't have a CV on the battlefield. There's no way he can win this at this stage. So, yeah, I don't know. This is not looking good. And GGVP.
Yep.
GGVP. Fantyx getting game number 1. Hippie gets out of it after that napalm strike.
I think this is another great case of Hippie winning the air war, but it doesn't matter in the current meta.
I mean,
ground forces are so strong if you have tanks and infantry fighting vehicles, that if you have a competent AA setup, you can lose all your airplanes and still